Welcome back to Soulrocker podcast, and my next guest is a femininity coach and a mother. In this episode, we dive into what is finding balance and fulfillment in our everyday lives in an overly masculine world. And as women, being ambitious and independent is important, but we don't always realize that we don't feel our best because we do crave softness and space to receive it, to be able to let our intuition and love guide us. So I am welcoming to you Mariya Spasova. Hi Mariya, thank you so much for your time today. How are you doing?
Hello, Vanessa. Yes, I'm doing very well, and thank you for having me here.
Yeah. So first of all, what part of the world are you in?
Yeah, so currently I'm in the Netherlands. I live in Rotterdam, but I'm coming from Bulgaria, which is Eastern Europe. And for already 10 years, I live in the Netherlands.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, I guess that's really cool to hear. What kind of took you from Bulgaria to Netherlands, if I can just quickly ask?
Sorry, could you please repeat? I missed the question.
What drove you from
Oh,
Bulgaria
love.
to Netherlands?
Oh, yes, it's love.
Love.
It's,
Oh,
yes, it's a
love
man.
it. Oh, love it. Okay. That sounds amazing. All
Really
right.
following my heart.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for today because what you do in your work and today's topic of feminine energy, and in today's, society, with more and more women being ambitious and successful creators and entrepreneurs, often lack the balance. So in your words, can you describe what is feminine energy?
Yes. So before we move into what exactly feminine energy is, I would like to share a little bit about feminine and masculine and look at it from a little bit of a broader perspective. And it might sound a little bit like a little bit more esoteric, but this is really the basis of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two primordial forces, and these are awareness and energy. And they're actually, we call them two, but this is like two parts of one whole. And this is where it's a little bit difficult to explain. It becomes like a paradox because they're together like all the time and separate just a little bit to produce a little friction, a little polarity. And in this polarity, creation happens. So this is the masculine and the feminine. And the masculine, I started calling it awareness, but we can also call it consciousness or emptiness or formless. And the feminine is the energy. This is the love, the fullness, the form. And now, if we zoom in into the feminine would be everything which already has a form, everything which we can experience, everything which we can see and touch and feel. This is all the feminine, all around us and in us. And it's a little bit difficult and vague, so don't get into word by word what I'm saying, but really try to experiencing it by feeling it. Like if you look at yourself, probably you'll notice that you're growing, right? The way you see the world, the way your experiences are changing, the way you interact with the world is changing. But actually there is a part of you which never changed. And this is from the moment you became conscious, let's say around 5 years old till now. Part of you has never changed, and this is the masculine. And everything which has changed is the feminine. So this is kind of the global and a little bit of esoteric explanation of the feminine and the masculine. And now, sorry, excuse
me.
No,
go ahead.
Yeah, to make it more practical, because this is nice theory, or like I said, a little bit more vague. we can make it a little bit more tangible and add qualities to the feminine and to the masculine. And this is already what people easier identify with. So if you see the feminine is like it's the light, it's the love, it's like intuition, patience, caring, the eye for detail, the devotion, the softness. It's also the storm. Everything, like nature is feminine, and everything is in nature can be like identified with the feminine qualities. If you look at the wind, can be a soft breeze, but can be like a hurricane, or like a very wild storm. And the same with ground. It can be grounding you, it can be nurturing you, but it can be trembling, like an earthquake. So all the qualities of the elements we identify with the feminine, and the feminine woman, and the woman who is connected to the feminine, is embracing all those qualities. And yes, she is just all this spectrum of wildness and softness and everything which is happening and changing constantly.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That sounds so beautiful, the way that you explained it. But now, kind of to go along with that, or what you just explained, so does this mean that both masculine and males carry feminine and masculine energy?
Yes, everybody. We are born with it, and we have this awareness which is part of each of us, and the qualities of the masculine, which are like clarity, direction, bravery, discipline, ability to set goals, to put feelings aside, to follow through. Like all those qualities, they are associated with the masculine, and we all have feminine and masculine. And based on what stage in life we are, we reside more in the feminine or more in the masculine. Like, for example, a woman who is pregnant, and especially in the second and third trimester, when she starts feeling her baby moving, this really brings her into her feminine much more than, let's say, if she's not pregnant. So this stage of life usually connects you with your body, with your womb, with your ability to create, which is the feminine. And then on the other hand, when we are studying and graduating and working really hard on career goals, this is a moment where usually we connect stronger with the masculine. So based on what period of life we are, it's easier to connect to one or the other, like naturally.
Yeah, got it. Now, is it possible to kind of connect, I guess, to both on a daily basis, or to have a balance within that? Or why do you think that it's so hard to be in our feminine energy?
Yeah, so I think that for the modern woman, balance is key. And this is so important, because after the feminist movement and the equality which we have created in the society, the ability to work just like men, to make our living, to earn money, this is like the feminine side of the society, or the women connected stronger with their masculine energy. And right now there is this urge to connect to the feminine as well, because we see so many women working so hard, doing so many things the masculine way, that it actually brings them exhaustion, stress, burnout. These are all signs of you've been too much in your masculine. So to bring the fulfillment, to bring the enjoyment, there really need to be balance, and the feminine needs to come back in. And this is the essence of what I'm doing. I really focus on women who connect stronger with their masculine, because they are ambitious, they're strong women. And I want to help them find that balance and connect to this softness so that they can have it all, can be successful, but can also feel fulfilled and can find the right partner and experience deep love and connection.
Yeah. Is working a lot always harming the feminine energy, would you say?
Often, yes, often it is, but it doesn't need to be. So there are a few things which can help very much to stay in connection with the feminine while we work hard. For example, something which is really important is how we wake up and how we start our day.
Mm-hmm.
And if we dedicate a little moment, even if this is 15 minutes or half an hour, on connecting to our body, connecting to our heart, having a small routine, this helps a lot for how we start the day and whether we stay connected throughout the day to our feminine. Also, if we work a lot, it helps to have regular breaks throughout the day. So don't stay sitting for 3 hours on one position, staring at one screen.
Mm-hmm.
Because after 3 hours, like our body takes even this rectangular shape. We are made to move, to flow. So this is another thing which can help. And also how we finish work, like being able to let go of work, relax, have a small ritual to connect us back to the feminine, whether this is class of yin yoga or meeting up with a girlfriend or taking a bath, something which just wash away the day and the stress and the busyness. So this is kind of the 3 moments: before work, during work, and after work. But something super important for whether connecting to the feminine is part of your day, even if you work a lot, this is how much you love your job. So if you're passionate about it, if you love what you do, if you experience joy and enthusiasm while you're doing it, there is the connection with your heart. And it helps you stay close to your feminine. Something else which helps if you want to stay connected to the feminine and work a lot is connecting to people. So are you working with a team? How do you interact with your team? When you speak to somebody, do you hear them? Do you connect with them? Or are you just really to the point and to the to-do list? There is a difference in how we interact with the people throughout our workday. Mm-hmm. So if we manage to slow down a little bit and really see who is in front of us and really communicate with them, this helps a lot to stay connected to the feminine. And this is easier, by the way, for people who are artists. It's the easiest stay connected to the feminine, or people who work with their body, like a dance teacher, for mm-hmm. example. She is constantly moving and basically everything which keeps you away from being too much in your head helps mm-hmm. you stay with your feminine.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing, because you basically mentioned a lot about how to keep that balance in there, even when we are trying to, reach all these goals. So thank you for sharing that with us. What would you say does it feel like or look like once we begin to get aligned and, welcome in our feminine energy? Like, how does that feel or look like?
It's a very good question. I think that it feels a little bit different for everybody, okay. But the way it feels for me is I feel alive. I feel on top of my game because I'm doing the things which I need to do in my day. And at the same time, I feel truthful to myself. I don't go away from my values, from what is important for me, for what my heart really wants. So it's really like a beautiful, sweet spot where it feels like I have it all. Even, of course, if I did not reach certain goals or I still have certain ambitions, of course, that's perfectly fine, but I am happy where I am and I feel alive. So this is a very powerful state for me. But I have also a nice example. I was I was entering in the World Trade Center in Amsterdam. This was maybe 2, 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was a spring day, very nice weather, and just beautiful season. And I'm about to enter, and I feel like this gentle wind, and I see blooming trees, and it's just, I feel light. I feel well. I feel good in my skin. I'm smiling. I'm walking. When I walk, I feel, my thighs moving. It's just, yeah, I feel sexy. I feel pretty. I feel good in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
I enter in the World Trade Center, which is a building with a lot of masculine energy.
Mm-hmm.
This is a building where there are a lot of ambitious people, a lot of deadlines, a lot of people ruling the world the masculine way. So the moment I entered that building, I felt turned on, like sexually. And this is actually what happens when we are in the feminine, and when we see or we encounter masculine, when we get in touch with masculine, there is this polarity which happens, and the feeling is like I am making love to life. So I'm in feminine energy, and everything around me which is masculine, whether this is a person or a city or a building, it's just like making me feel extra juicy, extra alive, extra confident, not about my outer experience, but about who I am and my depth, and yeah, something like that. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit difficult to describe, but yes. So when you find this sweet spot, I think that it's really like making love to life.
Wow. I never thought of it that way. So that's really interesting to hear, but also I noticed that you have a free crash course on Yoni eggs. Now, does this kind of relate to what you're speaking about, or what, I guess, what is
Yeah.
Yoni eggs?
Yeah, so I really love Yoni eggs, and because I work with many busy women, and when they ask me, okay, what is the fastest way to get connected to my femininity, and I have usually a few tips. One of them is mandatory a Yoni egg, because I think that there are many femininity practices, and you can make a feminine practices out of everything, like even out of taking time to enjoy your latte macchiato. This is a femininity practice. But the yoni egg is something which really connects you deeply with your yoni, and with your sexual energy, and with your most feminine physical parts. So it's a practice which you can do once a week, or once a day, or once every 6 weeks, whenever you feel like it. It usually takes around 6-7 minutes, and you use a small egg, which is a crystal egg made out of a gem, and each gem has different properties. And basically you introduce it in your vagina, and you're doing, for example, type of a Kegel exercises, so strengthening exercises. And from the first time you start working with Yoni eggs, you immediately feel more feminine. Somehow you feel more mysterious, more juicy, more, yeah, there is something in you which immediately awakens. And it's, for me, the most effective femininity practice which you can go for. So if you're looking for fast ways to connect to femininity, this is one of them. So a practice with a yoni egg. It's simple. It's really, it's beautiful. And it's been used by women for thousands of years. It's an ancient Tao practice. So yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna have to look into that because I actually haven't really come across that. So is that something that we can find like on the internet, I guess?
Yeah, so it's getting very, very popular, and you can get yoni eggs from, I guess they are delivered everywhere. So just look for a supplier close to you,
Mm-hmm.
but also mind a little bit where you're buying it. Like, trust the place, like listen to your intuition, because this is energy work, and as energy work, it matters where the egg is coming from, what intention is set in it, whether the crystal is pure. So I would say, just an advice, if you're just choosing out of internet, don't go for the cheapest solution on the market. Just trust the person or the website which you're getting it from. Yeah.
Got it. All right, I'll keep that in mind, and for all my listeners who, potentially are looking for something like that, to also include in their, their journey or their kit, if you will. So I would love to know just a little bit, if you can walk us through a little bit of your background on how you discovered the, lack of power of femininity within yourself, and what kind of drove you to where you are today with your coaching.
I've been doing coaching like actively for the past 6-7 years, but it was not all the time femininity. Like, I was doing this for my work as well, focusing on personal development and professional growth. But when it comes to femininity, I remember I was maybe in my late 20s, and I was feeling that I have so much energy in me, but I was somehow afraid of it. I didn't know how to look into it. I didn't know how to work with it. I felt that I have a lot of power in me, but I didn't know how to access it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started on a journey exploring energy, and I went through multiple courses of energy healing and different energy retreats. And I explored very different modalities till I kind of felt comfortable with knowing a little bit more about my energy and trying to use it more wisely, and also during my day. Like a simple example, one of my coaches, when we started working, he told me, you're like a free Wi-Fi. Everybody around you gets connected to you, because I'm positive, happy, vibrant person and smiling, and this attracts people to me. But also this drains me, or normally whoever is doing it. So he's like, you will be much more successful and powerful in your energy if you learn to channel it. So don't really spread it all around like a free Wi-Fi network. Put a password on it. So I started being more mindful for my energy. And then, like, this is a super important part of my journey. I started reading David Deida, a book called Dear Lover. So to every woman who is interested about femininity, this is the first book I would recommend. It's not an easy book, and it's written by David Deida, who is a man. And for the first time, I felt like, wow, somebody who doesn't know me, and this is a man, knows me better than I know myself.
Wow.
So he was speaking about the feminine heart and what it really is longing for. And it spoke so deeply to me that at that point I was in a relationship, and I realized that the relationship I'm in would never give me what my heart is truly longing for, is yearning for. So I ended this relationship, and the book helped me connect much deeper to my feminine. So before that, I was working with energy in general, but this book made me really curious about the feminine in us and in me. I started working with it. Few weeks later, I kind of started dating the partner I'm currently with. We have a child together. And it was a completely different level of relationship. And this man, I was working with him, like my current partner, we were working together for something like 5 years, and we never had any attraction or anything between us till the moment I connected stronger with my feminine energy. And I really felt like he sees me now. Now I am on his level. And the moment we met, the moment we started dating, his masculine energy put me so deeply into my feminine that I was like, whoa, it was like I've never been as feminine as with this man, like completely being able to relax, to trust. Only from the distance of time and from the new experience of this relationship, I was able to see what my other relationships were lacking. And everything which I was experiencing in my relationships, even though I was in good relationships, long-term relationships, happy relationships with good people, good men, there was always something which was missing. I was always asking myself, is this it? Like I was feeling that there is something deeper, and the deeper part of me was not yet feeling seen or satisfied, but I could not pinpoint why. Till actually I met a man, and I really feel like I attracted him when I was able to connect deeper to my femininity. So when it comes to dating and attracting men, I really believe that, working with your femininity is one of the most important things to attract a partner who you can feel seen with and who you can feel like taken by, like in the most loving and respectful way, somebody who can tell you you're mine. And wow, for me, this was like mind-blowing experiencing this. And yeah, so this is a little bit my journey, like through energy and going into femininity.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So it sounds like, really tapping into the feminine energy is something that, is helpful to us as women across all our lives, because it just doesn't affect us, in day to day, within our careers, but also within our relationships, which for most women, it's a big part of our lives. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Yeah.
Now, can you explain a little bit more on like your coaching services and what you offer, and how does that work?
Yeah. So now I am very proud because I'm launching a subscription. It's called Femininity Club, Successful and Feminine. And I will be providing monthly coaching with different monthly practices and different positive affirmations. So this is something which I'm really finalizing now and will be launching in November. And then I also have individual coaching. So this is something which I can offer, like one-off session or mentorship for 6 months. And I also have online products. I have a package of beautiful visualizations on very important aspects of the feminine, like body image, ability to trust, ability to receive. So these are all, like important parts of us as women. And in those visualizations, this is the powerful part, because it's a very gentle way to work on your subconsciousness, and your subconsciousness actually defines your behavior, and your behavior is what the outer world sees and what attracts different results. So this is a package of visualizations which I'm offering, and another course which is a 6-week course, and it's a signature course for me. It's called Totally Fulfilled. Every queen deserves a king. And it's really about attracting a man of integrity, a man who really deserves your time and your energy. And like this 6 weeks course, 5 of those weeks are about you as a woman and as a human and your femininity. Mm-hmm. And only the last module is about the man and how to attract him. Because like I said, working with your femininity is actually most of the work.
Yeah.
Working on yourself and becoming the one, you becoming, comfortable with yourself, loving yourself, increasing your self-confidence. This is already, you have the kind of half won this guy already, even before he met you. So yeah, this is a little bit what I have. Coaching, online products, and I will have a subscription model.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And I know that you also offer a lot of like free, like little gifts and PDFs and visualizations on your website as well. So I'll be directing all that information in the show description. Now, is there anything you would like to add, I guess, to share with my audience that maybe we haven't touched on?
Yes, so I think that it's really important to mention what the misconception of femininity are, because many women, like those strong, ambitious women, especially in the Western part of the world, when they hear feminine, some of them, something speaks to them, but there is a big part of women who feel like, oh, femininity is just about being a Barbie. And it's not. It's actually so much more than how you look. And I would like to just mention a few of the most common misconceptions so that maybe I break some myths and I make this topic more interesting and more inviting for more women. Because I truly believe that once we as women connect to the feminine in us, we actually tap into our true power and into our true potential. And together with the masculine gifts, which we are already mastering because we are working in this masculine world and using a lot of our masculine qualities throughout our work days, together with this, we can really rule our worlds in the most gentle and fulfilling way. So yes, I would like to share a little bit about the misconceptions, if that's okay with you.
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay, so femininity is not about being weak. And this is also what many people feel or see, like, oh, it's about being weak or being helpless or dependent on men. It's actually being authentic. It's femininity is about expressing all this wide spectrum of emotions which are happening within us, to express them, like what I mentioned at the beginning with the nature forces, like being able to notice this, to express it, to be brave enough to show yourself authentically, to be vulnerable. This requires a lot of courage, and it's a sign of strength and not of weakness. And femininity is also not about how you look. It's not about being pretty but shallow and thinking only about how your nails look or your hair. It's about you feeling beautiful. It's not about you looking beautiful. And I was sharing with a girlfriend, I think 3 days ago, what I experience often is I walk or I sit or I do something and I feel my body and I feel sexy. I feel good. Nothing like particular which caused that feeling. I just like the way I feel in my skin, in my body. And then I pass by a mirror and I look at the mirror, and often I'm disappointed. I'm like, oh, is this how I look? So it's a little bit weird to say, but I actually feel much more pretty that I look. This could be in the morning when I did not do makeup yet, or it could be just on Sunday when I'm with just my yoga pants or something and don't look particularly shiny or something, but I feel more beautiful than I look. And then I really believe that this is femininity. It's really about how you feel, because it radiates, and it doesn't matter if you did your makeup or not. Like a smile which comes from within, when your eyes are smiling, when you're confident, when you walk with ease, and when you feel your body, this makes you much more irresistible than the way you look. So you have this is another misconception, that it's about the look. And it's also not about selling your sexuality. I'm very careful with how I dress. Like, I don't wear short skirts, I don't wear big décolletés, because I don't want to sell my femininity like cheap. in a way. And there are different levels of femininity. There is also this shallow one, of course, which is all about the nails and the look. This is also femininity. But what I'm into and what I want to live and what I want to attract is deeper connections and deeper people. I don't want just shallow attention. I want, when I'm connected to the pulse of my womb, then I'm connecting masculine, which is this consciousness or awareness, with a strong presence. And I feel seen on a much deeper level than what I wear. So femininity is also not about your look or your sexuality. And you don't need to look perfect. You don't need to have the perfect body and the perfect curves or only wear dresses. This also does not count. And you can be successful and feminine at the same time. You can have it all, because many women feel, and this comes from a wound from the childhood on the feminine being sold as a lower importance or inferior to the masculine. Like a simple example, like two sisters, like around 3-4 years old, for Christmas, one gets a very shiny tiara and the other one gets Encyclopedia Britannica. And the one with Encyclopedia Britannica feels disappointed because the feminine in her wants to be seen. She wants to shine. She wants to feel beautiful. But then her mother tells her, yes, your sister got the tiara, but you are smart. Your sister is beautiful, but you are smart and you will achieve a lot further in your life. So basically, the message which the mother sends is that the masculine is superior to the feminine, and the feminine in the girl is hurt because she actually wants to be seen. Everyone who connects to the feminine wants to feel seen, be recognized as beautiful. And yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that femininity is for both successful women, and you can be very successful and feel very, very feminine at the same time. They're not excluding each other. And the last misconception which I want to mention is that femininity is not about being smiling all the time or happy all the time. It's also about expressing your darker side. And this is where the courage of being vulnerable and being authentic comes from. And this is where the role of a deep partner, somebody of integrity, is so important. Because in my previous relationships, when I was angry, I would have a man in front of me. When I'm angry, he would get angry himself. Or he would make fun of my anger. Oh, why are you so angry out of something? Or he would say, you know what? I'll go out now and we'll come back when you calm down. I don't know if you can relate to that. And all those scenarios made me feel really bad about my anger. Like, it's not seen. I'm not allowed to express it. There is something wrong with me for feeling this way, till the moment I met my current partner. And the way he faced my anger is like, he sees that I'm going to get angry. I can even see how he takes a deep breath in and he just stands there. And he's taking my storm without arguing, without anything. I just can really blow his head away from, like the steam which I let out. And then I'm fine. I'm done. And he just looks at me. Do you feel better? Yes, I do. Thank you. And like I feel like he sees that. And sometimes when he noticed that, okay, my anger is not that big or something like that, he would just hug me and kiss my anger away. But this is very different than my previous experiences of, somebody facing my anger. And of course, this made me much more courageous to express my true emotions and all my darker side. So this is another misconception, that femininity is all about being happy and smiling. No, femininity is about connecting to your deeper feelings and expressing them authentically.
Wow. I really loved how you shared the misconceptions because I feel like they are really important and it's something that I can relate to. But I feel like even most of us women, I mean, just where you ended off with the feeling angry is something that sometimes I experience myself or I hold back with what I feel because then I feel like um, it's too much or I fear of just not I feel like it in a way it makes me feel masculine and I'm not supposed to have those feelings, so thank you for sharing that.
No, of course, yes, thank you.
Now something that I'm curious about, one other thing is, since you're in Europe and I'm here in the States, so that makes me kind of curious to know if everything that you've been sharing, how is that different from my like this area in part of the world to yours? Do you feel like there's a difference at all?
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. So, first of all, I would like to compare it with Bulgaria, where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
There is already a difference between Bulgaria and Western Europe. Like Eastern Europe, there is much more still the traditional ways of mm, being a woman, looking like a woman. Women in Eastern Europe spend a lot of time on how they look. While in comparison with the Netherlands, here is way less. Like women here project often much more masculine energy than in Eastern Europe. And in Eastern Europe, there is also this cultural part on how you relate to your partner. Like,
Mm.
for example, there still you when you marry somebody, by default, you get the name of the man. And while in Western Europe, there as well, you can still choose not to do that, but this is kind of the way it's done still till today. In Western Europe, this is not like that. The woman here is much more stronger, standing in her shoes of I'm independent. I am by myself. I can choose myself. And this is really powerful position. But it also cuts the opportunity for deeper connection, because if you're so focused on being independent, you miss the point where you should become or you could become interdependent, where you can just relax and let go, where he can take care of you. So this in Western Europe is here I feel the women are much harder
Mm-hmm.
as in terms of energy. Here also what I notice is there are much more single moms than in where I come from. And when I compare it to the States, the only comparison I can put is like I, for example, post something on Instagram and I put few euros to boost that post, and I boost it in the States and in
Mm-hmm.
the Netherlands. And from the States, I get a lot more responses than from the Netherlands. The women I feel in the States are much more open for the idea of femininity, or I feel are much further ahead of realizing that, maybe this is something I should look into.
Mm-hmm.
While the majority of the women in the Netherlands are still looking at femininity from this misconceptions point of view,
Mm-hmm.
and feel it like, oh no, this is not for me. Like I've heard this from so many people and women I'm talking to here in the Netherlands. So I feel like I'm resonating much more with the women in the States than in where I live actually.
Wow, that's really interesting to hear. Um, Now sharing a little bit, since you have your own business, how has that been on social media? Because you mentioned about posting and it kind of sparked this question with how does that look like for you? on social media? Like, do you struggle at all to kind of gain like feedback, or clients? How does that? I'm just curious on that kind of like perspective of your career. How does that look for you?
Yes. Yeah, it is difficult. To be honest, I started my first business, like coaching business, 6, 7 years ago. And at that point, I was doing mostly on-site workshops. And I found the part with marketing, with social media, with sales very difficult. So I was doing it for 2 years and then I stopped because it was too difficult. But
Mm.
then few years spent, I felt like, oh, my heart is longing for this work. This is what I want to do, and this is what I want to share. And I decided that, okay, I'm starting again. And I started again, like my business, at the beginning of last year, 2021. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I will be doing this for something like 1 year, and then I'll quit my job and I will just do this full time. Well, the truth is that almost 2 full years in the business, I still have a job as well.
Mm.
And I don't feel that I'm there yet. It's a struggle to get my voice heard. I think that it has to do with maybe English is not my native language. So often I hear, like, I record videos and stuff, and after that I hear mistakes I'm making, or like, I know that it's not perfect. So this could be a turn off, or just because I don't speak to a particular audience, let's say just in Bulgarian, only in Bulgaria. I try to speak to the worldwide women, and then the tone is maybe something which women don't connect with that easily. And the third reason maybe that there's so much online, and Instagram, like if you look for femininity, there are so many amazing women who are doing this job, and I think it's great. It should be this way. Like,
Yeah.
we should wake up for it. But I believe that this is what I'm here to serve with. And as long as I don't give up, I will not fail. So I just keep on doing the things which I'm doing. And the easiest part for me is the creating. Like, I have those ideas and I have this knowledge, and this is easy. For me, the more challenging part is combining it with work, combining it with being a mother, combining it with spending time with my partner and my relationship. And also, I travel to Bulgaria to visit my parents every 6 to 8 weeks. So I travel often. So all this is making it, the time is making it extra challenging. But
Mm.
I believe it will happen. I see that when somebody hears my message, it's a yes or no, of course. And the women who this message resonate with, yeah, they're growing. And the fact that you invited me for the podcast, I feel like these are all the good, right signs that I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So right now, when you mentioned the challenges, that also kind of came a question came in mind where, of course, I feel like you probably have been on the, because normally, people like you who have a passion for something, and they have their, business going on, it's usually because they have also been on a journey themselves and probably still continue to be on a journey. Um, what would you say has been the most challenging part about, kind of reaching the highest potential of your feminine energy throughout your journey?
Like, the personal point of view,
Yes.
biggest challenge for me, or I prefer to actually speak of what I'm aiming at personally for me when it comes to femininity,
Mm-hmm.
and what I lack sometimes still right now. It's my connection with my partner is like my barometer for how my femininity is. And when we make love to each other, sometimes I have those experiences which are opening my heart so widely that I have emotions coming, tears coming, like these sexual experiences which are transformative, where I feel like we connected on a much deeper level. And in those moments, I feel, yes, this is why I'm here as a human, as a woman. This is what I'm supposed to experience. So those experiences is what my aim is. When I connect with him, I want to feel this depth, but I don't feel it all the time. And I have periods when I don't feel it for weeks or even months. And then I feel that, okay, I'm not connecting deep enough to my own femininity. Because when I do, I trust and I surrender fully. And when I don't, there is a part of me which keeps the control or tries to keep the control. And then this connection does not happen on this same level. And then my sexual experience stays a little bit mundane, like shallow. Yes, we can have great sex, but what I have experienced is so much more than great sex. And this is what I want for myself. And so this is my personal challenge. This is where I want to grow to, like that this is the norm and the depth of connecting with my partner.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that you continue to work through that, because sometimes, I mean, at least for me, I sometimes, I look up to coaches such as yourself, and sometimes we feel like, oh, they probably have it all figured out and everything is perfect. And it almost kind of makes somebody that's going through the journey, maybe they're just starting off their journey, and it just kind of sometimes it makes them feel, or can, even myself has made me feel like, I don't know, will I ever get there, And so when I hear, something like this, where you're telling me that, you still sometimes struggle, it's really beautiful to hear, because, and then it just kind of gives, people like myself, just that hope of, that we can still get there, and it's okay if we still struggle along our way.
Of course. And actually, when we talk about femininity, you don't need time for it. Like, this is something which our mind likes very much. Give me those 5 steps how to reach point from A to B.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to femininity, it's really all about you connecting to yourself, to your body, to feel how alive and juicy your body is. And for this, you don't need to heal your childhood traumas. You don't need to figure out your daily schedule. You don't need to think about or do anything else. It can happen, and it happens instantaneous. And of course, all the other work like therapy, coaching, you can do on the side and work on the things which are limiting you in any ways, whether these are beliefs or traumas or ineffective behaviors. You can and better work on them to be more successful and fulfill in your daily life. But when it comes to you and how you feel as a woman, you don't need time for that. It can happen just like in 5 minutes by focusing on this inner aliveness which your body is, like this life which flows through you. This is like happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for your time today and everything that you have shared. And I hope that, things continue to, just flow better for you, and just continue to share what you are passionate about, because you've shared so many, I think I haven't responded in the way that I want to, just because you've shared so much depth, and it's, having for me to process it all is like, I'm still kind of going through that. So I'll definitely be listening to this again myself, so I can just continue to absorb everything that you said, because it was so helpful.
Thank you so much. And Vanessa, I'm really grateful and flattered by your invitation. And it was really pleasure for me to be a guest for you and to have this conversation with you. So thank you so much for listening and asking and taking the time for that.
Yeah, thank you.